It has been a minute since we've reviewed an HO product, so I thought we were overdue to do that. And this was just released within the last couple weeks. The Wheeling in Lake Erie GP35. Let's open it up and take a look. There we go. Lots of foam padding, and that's a good thing. Lots of plastic case, and that's a good thing too, I guess. Because this thing arrived, it appears to be, it arrived in perfect shape. Happy day. All right, I'll get this thing on the track. As you can see, it's the high hood. All right, I would just say be a little careful taking this out of the box, because there's a lot of fine detailing, the railing and whatnot. Broadway Limited definitely does make a premium product. All right, let's get this thing on the track. Boards are lit. So full disclosure for you guys, I do not have a DCC system for HO scale. I will correct that in the very near future. So I'm just running this on a regular Kato DC power pack. And since I moved to Ohio about 5.5 years ago, I have basically come to adore the Wheeling in Lake Erie. The origin story, which I won't get into all of that right now, but it's a really cool, impressive story, and they've really built it into something pretty cool in a relatively short amount of time. I mean, at least compared to the other big railroads. And unfortunately, I don't live in a part of Ohio where I get to see these run every day or anything, but they're headquartered in Brewster, and it's a little over an hour for me. And when I'm out and about, I get to see them sometimes, and I love that they've adopted the Rio Grande paint scheme. And like my other Broadway Limited products, it seems to do really well at slow speeds. If you're new to the hobby, slow speeds are actually more challenging to duplicate than high speeds. I enjoyed this run through with all the startup sounds. The NW2 switcher I have for Broadway Limited did that as well. That light goes out as soon as he starts going. I didn't have anything that was a high hood. And when I found out they were making this, I was like, that's one I gotta have. Let's break with reality for a second and get it up to speed. Love hearing that engine spool up. And this is about it. It is at full speed. In my experience, these Broadway Limited engines, like that switcher we did last year, I mean, and like a switcher is supposed to, it's not going to go fast, but it's going to pull a lot of cars, and that's been my experience with Broadway Limited so far. Really enjoyed the products. I am by no means the definitive HO expert on YouTube, that's for darn sure. As you guys know, I do a lot of wooden railroad videos, but I now have some experience with all kinds of different scales and model railroading and whatnot, and I don't want to sound like a broken record and nobody's sponsoring this or anything, but I do think these Broadway Limited locomotives are really fantastic. I've been very impressed with them. think if you're that rivet counter guy, the guy that wants very realistic motion and stuff like that, I think these are a great way to go. And now that I've said that, I'm sure there's some rivet counter guy who in the comments is gonna point out all the things wrong with this. And again, I'm by no means an HO expert or even a railroad expert, but it looks pretty darn good to me. The attached rolling stock is nothing special. It's just a couple of Bachmann pieces that actually comes with their starter set. I did a review on that if you want to check that out. I'm not sure my camera's microphone is going to do justice to the Paragon sound that Broadway Limited uses, but hopefully it is. Listen to this thing spool up when it gets closer. So if you haven't done so already, please subscribe if you like HO. Like I said, I do a lot of wooden railway stuff for kids. I do some G-scale. And more I'm getting back into HO. And I got a big backlog of HO stuff that I'm going to be reviewing coming up here very shortly. A bunch of rolling stock, more Broadway Limited, some Bowser, and a couple more Broadway Limited locomotives. The next locomotive I'll be reviewing, probably in a few days, is a Baldwin Sharknose, painted for the Southern Pacific, and maybe there's an interesting story behind that. Maybe there's not. You'll have to watch and find out. And I also have a very cool, very expensive steam locomotive from Broadway Limited that I'm going to be reviewing, and I don't want to spoil that because I'm very, very excited about that review in particular. Good boy.